So Dan, Alice served the Latino community for decades. Can you describe the work that she did in the community and how that led to her legacy being commemorated by the Hispanic Women's Corporation?
Alice was very distinguished in all that she did. Believe it or not, but Alice grew up in the Tucson projects. They used to call it La Reforma. And I lived 17 blocks south of her, and I never met her until after I'd graduated from high school. But she was always involved in the community doing things. And she was one who, when somebody asked her to do something, particularly on behalf of somebody else, she was always willing to lend a helping hand. And when I met her, I had just graduated from high school, getting ready to go to the University of Arizona. And I met her because my sister was her teacher. And so my sister came to me, she says, "I've got somebody for you." I says, "Are you sure?" And I met Alice. And then it was history from there. We dated actually for 7 years. I got through the university. I did my initial active duty in the military. And so she was with me every step of the way. And in all those times, I was intimately involved in the community. I was involved in local politics. In 1971, I was one of the youngest elected official in the state, elected to the city council in South Tucson. The unique thing about that was she was there having people vote for me. She used to take people rides to the poll, real grassroots oriented. So she did all those kinds of things. So in the process of us being married, we just started collaborating on a lot of the different things that she did and the things that I did. And pretty soon, before you know it, we were involved in all kinds of activities, namely working with nonprofits, neighborhood associations, community groups. Alice, after she changed a career, she went to work for the Diocese of Tucson. And actually, she ran the medical offices at St. Ambrose School. And so she had that background. I remember she used to always ask me to buy her lifesavers in the little packs, because when the kids used to come to see her, she said, "Oh, I've got some special medicine for you." And she'd give them a lifesaver. And it was funny because here I was, the politician. We'd go out at some mall, and all of a sudden people would come running up to her, these little kids. And I'm saying, "Hey, they're supposed to come running to me." No, they came running to her. And then she became very active in a group called the League of Mexican American Women. Mm-hmm. That was a nonprofit group. I know they've been around for over 50 years. And when she joined them because they actually raised money for scholarships for students. And they did it for students at the community college level and at the university level. So she was involved with them, and she worked her way up. In the 20 years that she was with them, their bylaw says you can't be president more than 3 times. She was actually president 7 times.
Wow.
Because of her commitment.
Mm-hmm.
But she also was real involved with my daughter Jennifer and my son Billy and their school. And I mean, there was never a fundraiser that she wasn't involved in. And we did it as a family. So that was kind of her background, coming to work and be part of the Hispanic Women's Corporation. In fact, I knew Jaime Gutierrez when he was in the state legislature. We were friends, and because of our political background, and I met Linda Mason Gutierrez through Jaime. And in fact, the first time I went up there to stay overnight, he invited me to come to her house for some tacos. Well, I got there and I met her children. She lived in Scottsdale. And I told her how great her tacos was. And she said, you know, I'll make some tacos for you again.
Nice.
Well, all these years, guess what?
Still getting them?
She has not made me tacos yet.
Not yet.
So Alice became one of the first people that Linda met when she came to Tucson. And they became instant friends. And they worked together on a lot of different community projects. One of the big projects we did, and we've done this for almost 50 years, but we stopped it during COVID. We started in the living room of our house buying toys for the kids in the Yaqui community down in South Tucson where I grew up.
Wow.
And we've done that for over 50 years. And we did that there. The last time we did it, we expanded it. And maybe the reason we expanded it was because we thought that was something Alice wanted us to do. And we used to serve up to 5,000 kids a year, work with about 27 different organizations, faith-based organizations, nonprofits, and do that kind of thing. So that's a little background on Alice.
It's a beautiful.
If I think of something else, I'll let you know.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, way to commemorate her, by raising more money, raising more funds for these scholarships to help these students who are in the healthcare field who want to pursue that career. And it's just great to hear how you guys brought your energies together.
And times were tough for Alice too. Mm-hmm. She had breast cancer, 25-year breast cancer survivor.
Wow.
And on her 25th anniversary, you know what she did?
What?
She said, I'm going to get 1,000 people to give me $5 each for cancer research. And she did it. And you know what else she did?
What did she do?
She contacted her friends that she knew from politics. Mm-hmm. And the Tucson Fire Department, for the first time ever, all of the firefighters wore pink shirts. That was something that she wanted to continue doing, but a month later, we discovered she had lymphoma.
Wow.
And we did our best, and she had a bone marrow transplant, and she didn't last. Poor sweetheart, she was, up to the last minute, she was making sure that I took care of my children, took care of the community. She actually made a bucket list for me. And, I've done most of them, okay? And I'm sure she'll forgive me of the ones that I haven't done, okay? But it's those kinds of things. That's the kind of person she was. So when Alice passed away, the first thing we did, rather than having flowers sent to her, we raised $15,000 in donations. And then we found a grant from the Department of Education which matched the $15,000. And she now has an endowment of $30,000 at Pima Community College in the Desert Vista campus. So even before we started with HWC, she had the work for scholarships with the League of Mexican American Women, this thing even in her own death, okay? And then the rest was, she passed away on March 29th, 2010. Our first event with HWC was a grassroots event. We did it at the community center, the rec center at Keno Center, a gymnasium. We had over 500 people show up. We had a silent auction, we had a raffle. And I can remember Linda, she says, aren't we gonna get tickets? I said, no, we don't wanna get tickets. It's gonna cost money. We want money for scholarships. We ate on paper plates, we had, plastic tablecloths. But from there, we actually raised $50,000 that year.
Wow.
And then that began, we did dinners, we did one big golf tournament. Mm-hmm. I had a client that owned a golf course, and he donated the golf course to us, and we did a golf tournament. Poor Linda, she got bit by a scorpion and couldn't be there, so I told her that's the reason it went well. Now, don't tell her that. She knows that.
Well, that's amazing to hear that all these scholarships and endowment funds, it's just right on par with who she was and just the legacy she's left behind. So that's, leading into my next question. Healthcare professionals are a vital part of the community. How does it feel knowing that the Mary Alice Eckstrom Scholarship through the Hispanic Women's Corporation, that, it's actually going toward Latinas who were, on their path to becoming these frontline workers in the pandemic?
Well, that's the kind of legacy that she would have wanted to have left for us to do. And when we sat down with HWC to make this happen, they really hadn't done that much in Tucson. They had a presence here, but they didn't do, all their fundraising was in Phoenix. So we said, let's give it a try. And so what we started doing is we had, like I say, some dinners. We recognized quite a few different people. And we try to pick the people that always had the big draw. And we're very thankful that the Tanaatam Nation was very gracious in always being our prime sponsor at these dinners. And so that helped us out along the way. But we were able to do things, and then unfortunately our last one was in 2019 because of the pandemic. And I think everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen next. But I know HWC, they have it in the back of their mind. I know they're going to want to do something. And I know my daughter and my son and the rest of my family will want to move forward in that regard. But with regard to healthcare workers, as I said, she ran a health office for the diocese. The last 2 years of all the diocesan schools, her office won the award of the superintendent for 2 years straight. So she had a real commitment to that. So when you look at frontline workers, she would be very happy to see that we have doctors, we have therapists, we have registered nurses, LPNs, everybody within that field. And these are the people that took care of her when she was sick.
Yeah, it really comes full circle. During this pandemic, there's just been so much uncertainty. And, with these frontline workers, what kind of message do you think Alice would have for frontline workers?
Well, I think the first thing she would say is keep up the fight, because we've seen other issues besides COVID, and it's a kind of thing that it's a little different now because politics has become involved. But I think she would be there cheering them on, saying, you are the most important people that we have now, particularly with people who are older like myself, the youngsters. She has a granddaughter. Her namesake Zoe Alice is 6 years old, and she always talks about her grandmother. And she just got her second vaccine, so she's happy, and I'm sure that Alice is smiling. And it's the kind of thing that she would tell the healthcare workers. Keep doing what you're doing because our community depends on you. And she was a person of strong faith. And we know that when you define faith, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So we have to hope for better health for people. And by doing that, I think we're going to see, with enough people becoming more involved in trying to overcome all these things that are coming our way, that the whole notion of what Alice was thinking while she was alive will come to fruition.
That's beautiful. Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, I can tell you, when I met Alice, her brothers, she had a bunch of brothers, and they were worried because, like I say, I was just out of high school, first year, and she said, what's he doing with a college boy? And they were tough guys, okay? But then they found out who my brother was. He had a rep, and he still does, okay? So I always rested on him. So I'm one of those guys, I was real lucky. My family took care of me. Alice took care of me. And now, the 32 years and 4 months that I served in public office, I was able to return a lot. And when I was in Pima County government on the Board of Supervisors, we had the frontline people in public health and working. I was one of the ones that worked with Congressman Raul Grijalva, who, when he was on the board, to keep the Kino Hospital open.
Wow.
And still here. So it's just something that's been in my lifetime. But a lot of it came from my dear wife, Alice.
That's beautiful. I just wanted to take a quick break right now. I know Valerie has something that she wants to present to you here.
On behalf of the Hispanic Women's Corporation, I just want to thank you for all of your effort, your commitment, your lifelong leadership with your family, with your community, with future generations, right? 7 generations to come.
Oh, yeah.
And just on behalf of HWC, we are honored to be able to present this award, the 2021 honoree as an HWC
Wow.
Leader and Legacy Award. So we appreciate
Well,
you.
thank you so much, Valerie. And you know, I can speak on behalf of my family. And then that doesn't even include, I'm number 6 in a family, and all my siblings are still alive. I'm the baby. And so we have big families, so we have a lot of bodies. And you know, I think when we look at it, the last number that I saw was that in the period that we started working with HWC, we've raised over $500,000.
Wow.
So this is all in tribute to my dear Alice, and I know she's looking down on us.
Absolutely.
And we sense her presence all the time. She loved dragonflies. And it's amazing. We used to go to our events down at the casino, and we'd see dragonflies. And you know why dragonflies have 2 sets of wings?
Mm-hmm.
The first set is for them to get around. You know what the second set is for?
Mm-mm.
To give angels a ride from heaven down to earth.
Aw. That's sweet.
So
Congratulations.
thank you, Valerie. I appreciate
thank
this.
you so
Wow,
much.
this is nice, and even
Thank
oh,
you
look
so
at that!
much.
Look at that. Mira nomás.
Karina's going to continue and ask you a
Okay.
couple
We
more
have a
questions.
couple more, yeah.
Okay, here you go. Well, just
Or should we hold? What do you think, Val? Yeah? If you want to.
yeah, sure.
Cool. Do you mind holding it? Or?
Oh no,
Okay.
This is pretty nice.
Well, HWC is honored to, present this award to you, the Outstanding Legacy Award, and just very thankful to your whole family for their continued support for this scholarship. HWC is celebrating 40 years of empowering and cultivating the next generation of leaders. What are some of your favorite memories of, being involved, you and Alice with HWC?
Well, here's one. When I told you I was good friends with Congressman Ed Pastor, and he introduced me to Bill Richardson, who was a congressman and later governor of New Mexico. And he introduced me to a 7th generation potter from the Acoma, Pauline Abitia, who just recently passed away. And I started a collection of Acoma pottery for Alice. And one day, I had just picked up some pottery, okay? And I get a phone call. I was at some store. And Alice calls me. She said, hey, babe. She'd call me that, and I'd call her babe too, She said, Linda Gutierrez, Mason Gutierrez is looking for you. I said, really? I said, what does she want? She needs some prizes. Well, I had just seen Pauline, and I think it might have been at Sam's Club, okay? I think Linda would remember this. And she said, "What do you have for me?" I went to my trunk, I opened it up. And these were things I was going to give Alice. Instead, I gave them to HWC. So that's one of the great stories that I have in
That's
working
wonderful.
with HWC.
That's wonderful. Oh yeah, I'm sure they really appreciated that. What do you hope to see for the organization in the next 40 years? What do you hope they achieve?
Well, you know, they've been around for a long time, and I know that they're affiliated with Unidos US, which was National Council of La Raza, you know, and I think I know there's like over 260 affiliates throughout the United States. I think in the state of Arizona, while there are other affiliates, I think HWC has a special role to play. And that role is trying to prepare all people, all communities of colors, you know, the marginalized community, the people who are disadvantaged, indigenous, Latinos, Black, Asian. And I think that is the mission that they have. And I'm looking forward to, in the years that I have left, to try to work with them and try to make it happen.
That's lovely. I'm sure they're very thankful. Is there anything else that you want to add? Anything else you'd like to share?
No, I think see, when you're retired public, see, I can't even speak now.
It's okay.
When you're a retired but recovering politician, you know, you just have to, you know, you don't get these chances like this to get before a microphone, so the memories come out. So this is, you never know when the next chance is going to be for me to be interviewed. But thank you for interviewing me. You did a great job, and it was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Dan. Great to meet you and great to sit here and talk to you. Thank you for sharing those memories with us. Thank you.